60-second tattoo review, let's do it! This tattoo was sent in by Clara from Chicago, Illinois. The tattoo was actually done back in 2012, so it's now 11 years old. It was done by James Eastwood, though, and he is currently working at Pioneer Tattoo. If you want to check out their roster of artists, I definitely recommend you do. Now, let's break it down. So the sunflower is actually a memorial tattoo. It was for her grandma, Pat, who passed away, and you can see a simple little mandala design there in the center. Now, the first thing that stands out to me is it looks a little bit raw. It looks a little bit beat up, especially with those yellows. They look a little overworked. You can see a lot of the blood showing through, and sure enough, when I looked at the healed version of it, you can see some of those colors just did not stand out, especially the little bits of oranges in there did not work out very well. The greens held up phenomenally well. Unfortunately, the blues did not. There's also one thing that the artist did here where he shaded the centerpiece here, also known as the disc florets for those of you that care. Now this gray wash shading he did in here, unfortunately when you color over top of that gray wash, it causes extra damage to the skin, and when I zoom in here on the healed one, you can see that none of the color held up and none of the shading held up either. So that's a big no-no for artists. I don't recommend shading gray wash and then coloring over top of it. So for the saturation, I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. Now when we're talking about line work, I think he did a decent job, but some of these lines would have looked a lot better if they had come out thinner, like in the mandala here especially. You can see how blurred those lines came out. Again, it's an 11-year-old tattoo, but I don't think they should have blurred this much over time. So for the line work, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Now when we're talking about the design, I wish he would have expanded this blue background quite a bit more, brought it out some more, and I really wish there were some thinner lines used in some key places. So for the design, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Overall, I'm going to rate this a 6.5 out of 10. This is not a bad tattoo at all. I think he did a great job with the design especially, but I do think it should have held up a little bit better over time. And for those of you that are out there in Chicago, Illinois, I do strongly recommend James Eastwood, especially if you like American traditional work. He's absolutely become a master of that style. So that's it for this one, but let Clara know what you guys think of her tattoo down in the comments, and if you want to know how your tattoo ranks, just send it in. Alright, bye-bye.